Hey, so quick disclaimer, I accidentally messed up and muted myself early in the recording and I only unmuted towards the very end. So I'm gonna have to do some voiceover instead, just so you know why the commentary is different than it usually is. Anyways, enjoy the video. Hello and welcome back to the Pokemon Nuzlocke. Sorry for being, away for a couple of days. I was out of town at a concert, but now I'm back. And before we challenge anything, there's still a couple of things I have to do, and I'll explain when I'm there. There we go. There's the Earthquake TM that I wanted. And there we go. Malachi evolves into Garchomp. Now that's gonna be helpful. That's definitely going to be helpful. Okay, so the team is made up of Osprey the Staraptor with Close Combat, Fly, Return and Aerial Ace. Followed by Cage the Magnezone with Flash Cannon, Magnet Rise, Toxic and Discharge. Tommaso the Weavile, Night Slash, Metal Claw, Avalanche and Slash. I didn't realize yet that Avalanche had negative priority. I'll notice later. Then Malachi with Crunch, Stone Edge, Dragon Claw and Earthquake. I mean, classic set. Don't know if, not everything is gonna get used, but, it does work. Then there's Mandy with Giga Drain, Growth, Toxic Spikes, and Stun Spore. I was planning on maybe setting up Toxic Spikes. We'll see if that works out, we'll see. And then next up, we have Mox with Mark Punch, Close Combat, Flame Wheel, and Shadow Claw. And we begin the battle against Barry. Hold it, don't go off without me. You're challenging the Pokemon League, aren't you? That's why I'm here too. Let's see who's more worthy of making the challenge with a battle. You're challenged by Pokemon trainer Barry, and he leads with Staraptor, and I did as well. Now I was hoping that maybe with a return I could just out-damage it quite a bit. But again, the Intimidate, of course, did kind of ruin that for me. And after we hit return, it made me doubt the friendship level with Osprey. You can probably see that in a second. So I wasn't sure if that actually did a good amount of damage. Now that I look back at it, yes, it did, all things considered. Maybe not. But it did enough for this one. It was enough to make me unsure about the future of using that move. But we managed to dispose of the Staraptor. Next up was Heracross. And luckily, Heracross wasn't really much of a problem either because, let's be real, Aerial Ace is pretty good dealing with a Heracross. So that was no issue. I mean, I was looking at the Pokemon for all the upcoming battles, but I had the wrong one open for Barry. So I looked at the ones with the wrong levels. I was looking at the team when you meet him again at some point. So I was over leveled for this battle, which, made it considerably easier. But you can see me here fretting over return and the other moves. So I think I went for Aerial Ace. Did I? Yeah, I did. I don't know if that was the right choice. All things considered, I still don't know the friendship level with Osprey. But it didn't matter anymore anyways, because Will-O-Wisp would make physical damage pretty damn difficult to do on opponents. So I switched out into... What did I switch out? Into Malachi. Yeah, that was the obvious choice here. I think my idea was that it's not gonna Will-O-Wisp a second time in a row. And I was correct, it was gonna set up Sunny Day. And that would be the opening I needed, because that allowed me to Earthquake, and it's not the last time you're gonna see Earthquake in this video. A small heads up, but yeah, so Earthquake took care of the Rapidash, which was nice to see. And after that, what did he bring in? I just recorded it, but I don't remember all the orders in those battles. Sunlight's still strong, and he brought out Roserade. To which I decided to... Did I Earthquake it again? Or did I Dragon Claw? I Dragon Clawed. Makes sense. I mean, either would make sense. Both of them are neutral. But I think I wanted to save PP, or I forgot that... or maybe I forgot that Earthquake was neutral as well. Maybe I forgot about that. That's entirely possible. I sometimes forget about the second typings of Pokemon. Then came the Snorlax. What do? Do I Earthquake? Yeah, Earthquake. Of course I Earthquake. It's a guard jump with Earthquake. Of course I Earthquake. I mean, let's be real. Guard jump with Earthquake does hit hard enough that oftentimes, when in doubt, Earthquake. Then, of course, I get hit with a Body Slam in return, but luckily I dodged the paralysis. I think Body Slam can paralyze, right? So, after that, another Earthquake, just for good measure. And that does it for Snorlax. I mean, the level differential, of course, was a big part of it. That's, again, because I forgot that... no, I didn't forget. I looked at the wrong list of, of teams. So I thought the Empoleon was going to be, like, level 56. So I decided to go in with the same levels I was going to do the Elite Four with. Bit of a mistake. Should have maybe been leveled lower, but in the end, what can you do? Sometimes mistakes happen, and at least that one didn't cost me anything at that point, because, yeah, at least, it made it easier, but things can always still go wrong, but in this case, they didn't. We gained some XP for that, and after that, Barry was defeated. What just went down? What just went down? My team still needs training, is what it said. I guess I'm not ready for the Pokemon League if I'm losing. I guess I'm not ready for the Pokemon League if I'm losing. Come on, click it. What was I doing at that point? If I'm losing to you, darn it. You watch though. I'll get tougher and win my way through the Pokemon League. Because I'm going to become the champion, the toughest trainer. Jay, you'd better not lose to me, You better not lose to anyone before me. I think that's what it said. I don't know why I misread that here, but yeah, sorry about that. Let me confirm that you are qualified to challenge the Pokemon League. So let us examine the gym badges you gathered. Orberg City's Coal Badge. Eterna City's Forest Badge. Hardhome City's Relic Badge. Veilstone City's Cobble Badge. Pastoria City's Fen Badge. Canalave City's Mine Badge. Snowpoint City's Icicle Badge. And Sunny Shore City's Beacon Badge. And a small jingle plays as we're allowed to move on. And the big time begins. You've indeed collected all the gym badges of Sinnoh. Demonstrate the power that brought you here and go for glory. And then we go pay Aaron a visit. Of course, I did heal up and cut that out, so I'm not going in with the damage team. Don't worry. Okay, and there he is. Hello, welcome to the Pokemon League. I'm Aaron of the Elite Four. It's good to meet you. Oh, I should explain, I'm a huge fan of bug Pokemon. Bug Pokemon are nasty mean, and yet they're beautiful too. Would you like to know why I take on challenges here? It's because I want to become perfect, just like my bug Pokemon. Okay, let me take you on. Sorry if I'm misreading. I'm not planning on like doing that many different takes here. Yeah. There's Elite Four Aaron, and he sends out Yan Mega first. So I send out Osprey and Intimidate it. It's mostly a special attacker, so it doesn't really matter, but I decide to go for a Fly. I'm still contemplating, of course, because in the Elite Four all decisions matter, and I didn't really like the lowered accuracy of Fly as opposed to Aerial Ace, but I did like the increased damage output enough to still go for it. So Osprey flew up high, and Yan Mega double teams, which made me a bit unhappy, I'm not gonna lie. And then of course it speed boosts, which allows it to do another double team. At this point, I was quite worried about ever hitting this thing with fly, but for once luck was in my favor and a nice fly hit and took it out. So next up, I think, like I was thinking at that point, what is it gonna send out next? It's not gonna send out Heracross. So it was Drapion instead, which wasn't optimal for Osprey. So I decided to look at the team and the moveset that it had, and it had, if I remember correctly, nothing that was super effective on Cage. So I sent that one in instead. Maybe I was hoping for a poison move for an even smoother switch in. That was not the case. I mean, yeah, right, yeah, Ice Fang was the obvious thing it was gonna go for. I forgot about that, yeah. So we tanked that. And Flash Cannon. Because I think at that point it was holding the Iron Plate to make Steel type moves stronger. Maybe I put that on later, but I think I put that on right away. So that was the obvious choice here, plus of course the higher base damage of that move. The Citrus Berry didn't take it high enough to live a second one, so I was pretty confident in Flash Cannon killing. And of course in me tanking another X-Scissor, even if there was a crit. That all worked out. There comes the Flash Cannon. And the Drapion... Well, the Drapion was taken care of there. I was of course eagerly awaiting the next Pokemon to come in to see what it was. I had assumed Heracross because of fighting moves, and that was indeed what happened, so I switched... Who did I switch to? I don't remember at this point. There's a couple of other battles between that. Did I just go back to Osprey? I think I was contemplating the moveset that it had and what it would go for. Was I willing to just tank a fighting type move with Osprey? Well, let's see. Or did I was probably contemplating Mandy because of other moves in the arsenal. But in the end, I went with the obvious choice here, Osprey, to hopefully tank a close combat, I assume. With the Intimidate that I had forgotten about, but was very happy about discovering that it still had. So then the close combat came in, and we managed to tank that. The defense went down, and the special defense as well. And with that, the obvious choice was of course Aerial Ace. And it went about the way you'd expect. There we go. Then, who did he bring out next? It was Vespiquen, of course. And did I stick with that or did I switch out? I think I switched out. Right, because it has a Power Gem. I switched out, and I was contemplating Mox for the fire type moves, and because rock type moves are neutral. And I considered Cage because of the electric type moves and because I resisted all the damage. And I was thinking about Scizor as well, who would be the next Pokemon, the last one left. And Mox would of course be the more favorable matchup, but I didn't really want to tank I didn't want to have to tank a Power Gem even though it was neutral. So I think I ended up going with Cage. I was waxing philosophical about that, I assume. Yeah, I ended up going with Cage. And of course, Power Gem, as I had predicted, was relatively tankable here. So the Discharge, I don't know why I contemplated Magnet Rise there. There is no ground type moves on the opposing team anymore. So yeah, Discharge, and that was enough to take out Vespiquen. Now, I did not have any super effective moves for Scissor, of course, but I was hoping that some special attacks that are neutral would still do the job without leading to any losses on my team. So I think I explained that in the video as well, and contemplated switching. But in the end I went for Discharge. The X-Scissor was tankable, so I think that set in stone my my strategy to just keep going with that, to just hit it with as much of that as necessary. I tried to read that, but I got tripped up, sorry. You can pause it if you want to. I take another one of those and another Discharge. And that was enough to take out Aaron. And now I prepare for reading what the dialogue says and trying not to get tripped up. But yeah, Aaron, that storm was weathered. I will now concede defeat. But I think you came to see how great Bug-type Pokemon can be. I hope you all you also realize that what you're up against in the Pokemon League. Battling is a... He just talks too quickly. He just talks too quickly. I lost with the most beautiful and toughest of the bug Pokemon. We lost because I wasn't good enough. That's it. Back to training camp. Let's hear it for me. No, that's wrong. Anyway, go on to the next room. 3 trainers are waiting for you. They're all tougher than me. Okay, at that point... right, I double-clicked that. I'm going to become a top-level trainer who can't be outclassed, etc. And then we face Bertha. Well, you're quite the adorable trainer, but you've also got a spine. I'm Bertha. I have a preference for ground-type Pokemon. Well, would you show this old lady how much you've learned? Now, at the beginning of this battle, I was talking about how she has a pretty annoying combination of Pokemon with Whiscash and Gligar, which don't actually share any weaknesses. And the one weakness of Whiscash, Gligar has coverage for, which made me decide to go for Garchomp first, to at least get this one out. Bait an Ice-type move from Gliscor later, and then switch into Tommaso on that one. Just so I could actually tank that with Tommaso and could switch in without taking too much damage. And there we go, the Earthquake connects, not quite enough to take it out, and it sets up a Sandstorm, which I did not like because it raises the special defense of Rock-type Pokemon, and some of her Pokemon are Rock-type, so I didn't really like seeing that. I considered maybe stalling out the Sandstorm at some point, but instead I decided, you know what, let's just Earthquake that thing and let's see how long it takes until the Rock-type comes out. And just take it as we go. Didn't really want to, maybe overcomplicate things and take damage in the process. So I decided to just keep going. Now, there was the Gliscor. And my switch into Weavile. Come on, me from the past, do it. Do it already. Yeah, there we go. Click that. And now it's time to find out what mistake you've made, me from the past, isn't it? It's about to find out that I've made a big mistake. One that would change my approach to some other things as well. And that would be Avalanche having negative priority. This is where I found out. Of course, I looked that up afterwards. Because I was like, oh no, why did I get outsped? But no, it's negative priority. I just didn't realize that because, let's be real, I don't really use that many ice types usually, and Avalanche is not really the move I go for. But hey, you have to find out at some point, don't you? I was very confused at that point. I probably waste some time with my confused ramblings as well, because how could anything outspeed my Weavile? Well, negative priority does that to you. So next up is Golem. And I have to switch, there's no other options. And I don't know if I realized that it's gonna go for whatever move because it's easy kill with everything. But I think I switch into... What did I switch into? Did I switch into Malachi? Or Mox? Or Mandy? Come on. What did I switch to? Or am I still contemplating the speed thing? I might still be contemplating the speed thing at that point. I switched to Mox. Yeah, I think I predicted a fire punch or something. I think it has that. But instead it goes for Earthquake because I didn't realize at that point yet that it would go for anything at all if it sees a kill with everything. Which is a basic thing to miss, don't get me wrong. But I wasn't punished, luckily. That could have gone horribly wrong. And Mox would come in handy much later, so losing that here would have been a catastrophe. So instead I go into Mandy, banking on the fact that it wouldn't go for a Fire Punch but Earthquake again, which was at least tankable. Like, it did a lot, but Fire Punch probably would have done more. So I hope, you know, Giga Train should kill 4 times effective and it would heal me up. So, like, obvious choice here. I mean, it's the only attacking move on Mandy. So I went for that. And it put me back up to full, which made me quite happy. Completely unpunished for that, like, bad play earlier. And now it was time for Rhyperia, which scared me a bit. Like, if it lived and avalanched me, I would be done for. But I decide to go for the Giga Drain, hope for the best. And let's see what the health bar does. It goes to 0. I mean, yeah, it's not a special tank. I noticed that with my Rhyperia, I think. And it, you know, it was enough to take it out. Now, Hippowdon was only 2 times weak, and it set up a Sandstorm, which kind of scared me. Simply because of the chip damage, just in case it hits me, you know, it lives and hits me hard, and then the chip damage comes in. I was a bit worried about that. And it takes Hippowdon down into the red, and it Earthquakes. And let's see how much it does. Was my fear warranted, or was it not? It wasn't. I mean, of course, a crit would have killed either way, but in that case, the Sandstorm would have been irrelevant. Dear child, don't assume for an instant that you've won, she says to me. She's gonna full restore. I pretty much called that at that point. I go for another Giga Drain, of course. I wonder if she's gonna use a second full restore after that hits. But instead, we had a critical hit, and the Hippowdon is done for. We go back to full health. And she is defeated. Some rough spots there, but in the end it worked out pretty well. Well, dear child, I must say that that was most impressive. Your Pokemon believed in you and did their best to... they always talk so quickly. I think it's tied to the text-to-speech, probably. You're quite something, youngster. I like how you and your Pokemon earned the win by working as one. That's what makes you so strong. I think that you can go as far as you want. And we're at Flint now. Yo, trainer. You had me counting the days on my fingers waiting for you to come. I heard from Volkner that what you did in Sunyshore. You managed to light a fire in that guy's heart again. How could you not expect me to look forward to seeing you in battle? And he's running around a bit. You're facing a fire-type Pokemon user with me. Let Flint see how hot your spirit burns. And there we go. And let's see. Let's see what Flint can do against me. As we lead with Garchomp, which has Earthquake and is fast. I even gave Garchomp a berry just in case we get burned at some point. But Garchomp hits Earthquake. And what does the health bar do? Well, it goes to 0. Get used to that. Get used to the combination of words. Garchomp used Earthquake and the health bar goes to 0, at least for this battle. Because out comes Magmortar. And what do? I think the choice is obvious, even though I wax philosophical about it apparently. I hit Earthquake. And I think you know the words already. And the health bar goes to 0. And that is a level for Malachi. As if it needed any more help with Flint. Okay, grows to level 61. Out comes Rapidash. I was sometimes worried about some speed stats because I didn't really want to look up the stats themselves. I only looked up, I looked up the Pokemon and movesets. I didn't really look at the stats all that much, but Rapidash is slower than Malachi and takes an Earthquake. I mean, especially, being a couple levels slower than that. It's predictable what happens. It's a one-hit KO. Sorry if this part is a bit repetitive, but that's just sometimes how battles go, isn't it? Flareon, another one where I was worried about the speed stat, but I think I was misjudging that. I think it's not actually that fast, right? It hits hard physically, and I don't know what the other stats are, but it isn't enough to outspeed Garchomp. And that means it's a one-hit KO. And that is followed, of course, by Flint's last Pokemon. And that is Infernape. Another one where I was unsure about the speed stat. I can feel your determination. Your will is overpowering, etc. But, simple strategy, Earthquake. And Infernape isn't that tanky, so in the end, the predictable thing happens and it goes down as well. And Flint proved to me that Pokemon battles sometimes can be really simple. But I guess that's just what happens when you have a really favorable matchup. Flint defeated. Huh? I don't believe it. I lost. I didn't take you for granted. But I didn't expect you to win. I'd never even considered it. I'm blown away by this. You and your Pokemon are hot stuff. We get some nice money there. Burned right down to cinders. And there's Lucian. We lead, of course, with Weavile. Ah, you timed your arrival well. I've just finished reading a book, you see. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Lucian. I am a user of the Psychic type. I must say, you've already proven yourself to be outstanding by coming this far. They say I am the toughest of the Elite Four. I'm afraid I will have to go all out against you to live up to that reputation. And let's see how that goes. Now he has more stuff to throw in my way. The Gallade and the Bronzong come to mind. Those, typing-wise, don't match up to my Weavile that well. So I was just kind of hoping, I could prevent Mr. Mime at least from setting up, damage reduction stuff, because it has that. But, it outspeeds, the Night Slash connects, and that is that. So at least we don't have to deal with Reflect and Light Screen and all that jazz. So next up, of course, one of the unfavorable ones, Gallade, with Drain Punch could knock out Tommaso with one hit easily, like 5 times over probably. Well, maybe 4 times over. And so I consider my options here. I don't remember what I went with here. I don't have the moveset in front of me anymore, but I decide to go with... Come on, past me, decide. Come on now. I think none of the hits are super effective on Malachi, even though there's some like neutral stuff there, like a Psycho Cut for example. I decide to go with Malachi because Malachi is relatively tanky. Drain Punch, of course, also neutral. And that would have obliterated Weavile. So I think I've given it the Dragon Fang to boost dragon moves at that point. And the Dragon Claw, how much does it do? A good amount. Citrus Berry comes in, but it doesn't heal enough for it to tank a second one of those. We have to tank a Psycho Cut first though. And we managed to. Did a decent chunk, but not quite enough. There's the Dragon Claw. Another thing that was good about switching in Malachi here is that, ironically, it doesn't resist Psychic type moves. And doesn't really get hit by a lot of stuff super effectively in this battle. Which makes the Psychic type move most of the time the most logical thing to, you know, go for the AI. Which, and I think I contemplate this quite a bit. I think I don't really want to take a hit here. So I go over my options once again, look closely to the move pool. And I think I go for... Do I go for Tommaso here again? Do I? I think it had multiple neutral things where I was unsure what it was going to go for. And I went through all the options in detail. My exact thought process is lost to time at this point because I muted myself because I'm smart. But I switch into Tommaso and obviously predicting a Psychic, and there it is. So that was a clean switch in, and Night Slash. Weavile has the, what's it called, the Dread Plate to boost Dark type moves. So there's no way in hell Alakazam lives that. And, well, that prediction worked out pretty damn well for me. But, obviously, the next Pokemon in is gonna be Bronzong because of the Steel typing. And now I have to switch because I don't one-shot that. And the Gyro Ball definitely one-shots me. Or at least I assume it would one-shot. So I look over the moves again and I see that it has nothing to hit Cage with except for a super effective Earthquake. And that might seem like a dumb thing to switch into. But don't worry, I thought this one through and I'm explaining it probably at that point. Because Cage is Magnet Rise, so I can switch in on a Gyro Ball, I assume. Then set up the Magnet Rise, don't get hit by the Earthquake, and then I can just whittle it down with the Electric type moves. There's the Magnet Rise. Let's see if my plan to whittle it down with Electric type moves works out. Okay, so that one was avoided. And there comes the Discharge. And it does slightly more than half. However, Bronzong goes for Calm Mind, boosting its special attack and special defense, which means that it's now no longer a 2-hit KO. I go for Discharge anyways, because what else am I gonna do? And it leaves Bronzong in the red. And it goes for a Psychic, which, you know, does a decent chunk. Does a decent chunk, all things considered. I decide to press on. The full restore comes in as I suspected. At this point I'm just rooting for a critical hit. Because I didn't want to keep that going forever. And you'll see why. Okay, so that looks like a 3-hit KO to me. I reiterate that once it wears off I have to go for Magnet Rise again. I go for another Discharge. It takes him down into the orange, nearly to the red. I take another Psychic, and My special defense goes down. So electromagnetism wears off. I'm now faced with a decision. Do I risk a Magnet Rise, take another Psychic, and maybe go down? Or do I go for Discharge? I go for Discharge, banking on it that it kills, and it does. So in the end that worked out. I don't know why I even considered it. Looking at it now, yeah, the health bar was way smaller than the chunk Discharge takes out, and I outsped every single time. So there wasn't really any risk involved. And now again, that's why the Steel typing is so good. Basically everything Espeon has is resisted. Like, no, everything is. In Gen 4, Shadow Ball is also still resisted. So I see that as my opportunity to switch into Tommaso, because with Stab and with its power, Psychic is the logical choice. Another good prediction there. I go for another Night Slash. And the Night Slash, well, the Night Slash does the job and Lucian is defeated. Nice super effective hit there, Espeon goes down. Some more XP. And another battle without losses. I was getting nervous. I see. You getting past the 3 before me was no fluke. Like, I was getting nervous about, things going too well. Luck would run out. Congratulations, you've now beaten the Elite Four. However, that doesn't mean you're done with the Pokemon League. There remains the champion. I should warn you, the champion is far stronger than the Elite Four. Now go on, step through the doorway to your final battle. And I do. And I was really worried about my luck running out. Have you been keeping well? Thank you for Mount Coronet and for the Distortion World. I'm truly grateful. Together, you and your Pokemon overcame all the challenges you faced, however difficult. It means that you've triumphed over any personal weaknesses too. The power you learned, I can feel it emanating from you. But that's enough talk. Let's get on with why you're here. As the Pokemon League champion, I accept your challenge. And the most notorious, difficult battle of the franchise so far, I assume, begins. Champion Cynthia leads with Spiritomb, and I lead with Malachi. I've since leveled everyone up to level 62, the movesets remain the same. I forgot to give more Earthquake PP. I decided to save them, which might have been a mistake, but I don't think Earthquake would have killed anyways. Shadow Ball hits and does a decent chunk. I go for another Dragon Claw and take out the Spiritomb. And that leads to the showdown. The big showdown between Garchomps, both level 62. Who outspeeds, who kills. It has as its dragon move Dragon Rush, which has a chance to miss. Let's see how all of those things shake up. Obviously, I'm contemplating things at the moment in that video. Like, past me is contemplating a lot of stuff, looking at my options now. But there aren't really any great options, I think. I don't want to, switch in Mox on a potential Earthquake, Mandy, Flamethrower, Tommaso Flamethrower, etc. So I decide to go with a Dragon Claw. But I get outsped, Dragon Rush, hits, and, well, 07s. For Malachi with the critical hit that most likely didn't matter. Goes down. And I'm faced with a decision. I think I decide to risk it. Just in case we live and can hit an Avalanche, I decide to go for it. It's a risky move, and I think I've kind of got into a defeatist mindset at that point, because I'm like, okay, fuck, we're screwed. But we just live. We don't flinch, because that can happen from Dragon Rush, and we hit it with an Avalanche that absolutely nukes the Garchomp. 4 times effective, double base power because of getting hit before, and Garchomp is down. One of the big monsters in this franchise dealt with. But Tommaso reduced to basically being useless. I decide to sacrifice Tommaso here. I'm just not sure if I can outspeed or if it's gonna go for extreme speed, so I still do contemplate the moves. The downside is everything I have is resisted. I think I go for a slash here. Simply because of the critical hit chance. I'm of course mulling it over extensively, because that's just kind of what I do when I'm in a stressful situation. Yeah, point at all of the stuff. Great idea, I go for slash, but it doesn't matter, extreme speed comes in. It obviously connects, and yeah, it's gonna be enough to take out a Weavile with 23 health. So I decide to go for Moxley here. And I contemplate, do I go for close combat? Do I go for Mark Punch? What do I do here? If it lives like close combat and goes after me, then I'm gonna take a massive hit. So instead I go for Mark Punch. And it takes it down to less than half, which makes me very happy. Aura Sphere comes in. And I'm worried, you know, special hits could do a lot of damage. But it's, you know, it takes me into the Citrus Berry range, because I gave Mox a Citrus Berry, and that takes me up to a nice amount of health again, and I dispatch of the Lucario with a Mark Punch. So at least that worked out relatively well. Lucario fainted. And next up would be my Milotic, and that one is a pain in the neck. That one's a real pain in the neck. Because it has coverage for all of my Pokemon, except for Cage. So I go into Cage and hope that I can take a Surf. Well, turns out I can tank 1, but not 2. I hope I might outspeed, because I don't know my Milotic speed stat, but I don't. And 07s go out to Cage. Did a lot of good work, but crit just to flex on me. But yeah, Cage had to go down here. And now it's 3 versus 3. Mandy, Osprey, and Mox versus Milotic, Togekiss, and Roserade. I go into Roserade here, fully aware that yes, it has Ice Beam, but I hope that I can tank that, and I go for Giga Drain. I hit first, so at least we have speed priority in this case. Does less than half, and I'm not happy about that. Milotic goes for Ice Beam, obviously. I mean, it's the logical choice, I knew that would happen, and I hope I can tank it. It does more than half, so just damage output wise, I'm not in a good spot. I go for another Giga Drain. I hope for a crit, of course, or for a high roll. And I get neither. But it does heal me up into a range where I can live a non-crit Ice Beam. So that's at least something. That's of course what happens. I take a non-crit Ice Beam, it takes me down to 32 health. Which I hate to see. I predict a full restore. That is what happens. Of course, the health bars in Sinnoh are a bit slow, but another Giga Drain comes in. I hope it heals me to a good amount. Again, no high roll, no crit. We're above half again. Since we move faster, we can risk another Giga Drain. That would heal us up enough to tank another Ice Beam. I again hope for a crit or a high roll. Again, it doesn't happen, but at least we're nearly back to full. Just so we can tank an Ice Beam unless we get crit. We don't get crit, luckily. And since we outspeed, we can use another Giga Drain on the Milotic. And the Milotic is done. Now, I at this point, I'm just hoping that I can at least paralyze the Togekiss if it comes in next, which, I mean, yeah, it's a flying type. Obviously, it's going to come in next. I hope I can at least paralyze the Togetic before it goes down. So I go for Stun Spore. And we miss. It goes for Air Slash, and it misses. A second chance for us. Stun Spore misses again. I was not happy at that. I was absolutely not happy at that. And that means Mandy goes down. It's now 2 versus 2. And we bring in Osprey. Despite the fact that Togekiss has Discharge, simply because Mox would be an even worse matchup, in my opinion. I stand by what I did here, no matter how it ends here. I think it was the right choice. I contemplate and contemplate and contemplate and end up using Fly. And there's... oh, Shockwave. Yeah, not Discharge. Shockwave. We hit it with a Fly. I still hope for maybe a Speed tie or something that it hits, you know, before I actually hit Fly. But no, I'm just faster, so we did not avoid the attack there. And it goes for a Shockwave. And it isn't quite enough for a kill, but it takes me down into a range where I'm screwed, essentially. I can hit it with another Fly. But after that, that's curtains for Osprey. So that was the sacrifice I had to make. Luckily, Fly connects. Obviously, I was hoping for a crit. I mean, yeah, who wouldn't hope for a crit in that situation? And Togekiss goes for Aura Sphere. Because it saw the kill with Aura Sphere and it can't miss. So it's a very logical thing to go for here. And I bring in my last remaining Pokemon against the 2 that Cynthia still has. Mox, of course, has 2 options here. Oh well, technically 3. 3 neutral options and 1 that is immunity. That's an immunity. Mark Punch, Close Combat, Flame Wheel. I'm pretty sure that Mox outspeeds anyways, but I'm not sure if Mark Punch kills. And I don't want to risk taking an Air Slash. So then I'm banking on maybe being able to one-shot the Roserade if I kill Togekiss with Close Combat. So that's kind of the thing I'm contemplating here. Can I defeat Togekiss with a Mark Punch? Or can I defeat, you know, a Roserade with a Flame Wheel? That's kind of just where I'm stuck here. I decide to go for the Close Combat and hope that I can one-shot the Roserade. And that is of course enough for Togekiss. Which brings out the Roserade next, of course. And this is what it all comes down to. It has Extra Sensory, which with my lowered special defense can most likely one-shot me here. And the Flame Wheel might one-shot, but might not. And the moment of truth. Do we win? Do we lose? It all boils down to this. Roserade goes down. I'm left with 1 Pokemon. A really, really close battle there. We gain some more XP. And at that point, I'm just... my heart was pumping just a few minutes ago, etc. She's talking quickly about how just a few minutes ago I was just the strongest non-champion trainer, and now I'm the strongest trainer in Sinnoh. That was excellent. Truly an outstanding battle. I think I misspoke there, and that's why it took so long. Or maybe I'm just talking about how you could look at my team now. You gave the support your Pokemon needed to maximize their power, and you guided them with certainty to secure victory. Yeah. You have both passion and calculating coolness. Together, you and your Pokemon can overcome any challenge that may come your way. And I was just talking about, look at my team there. Those are the impressions I got from our battle. I'm glad I got to take part in the crowning of Sinnoh's new champion. Come with me, we'll take the lift. And I'm about to realize something. I'm about to realize something. Oh no, when did I mute myself? Oh no, when did I mute myself? I just realized. I hope that battle isn't entirely quiet. Oh no. Oh damn. I hope it didn't ruin the entire recording. Because I was on another screen, not on OBS, and I was looking at the champion team. I didn't see when I muted OBS. The room ahead is the Hall of Fame. Jay, your last battle was splendid. Oh, hello, Professor Rowan. A child I enlisted for my Pokédex project has come this far. It's only natural that I come and witness the child's crowning glory. Jay, I shouldn't call you a child anymore. You've grown into a real champion. Professor, you still enjoy the enthusiasm kids bring to your research, don't you? Jay, step this way, please. Professor Rowan, please join us. Okay. God, I hope I didn't ruin the entire recording. Ugh. Might have to put some audio commentary over it if I did. It's been a long while since I last entered this room. If your last time here was when I became champion, then yes. That would be quite a long time ago. Jay, welcome to the Hall of Fame. Your names will be recorded for posterity here. What you are leaving are the memories of your adventure so far. It's time to record your names and your Pokemon. Remember, your Pokemon are partners that grew with you through many challenging battles. This machine will make a permanent record of your achievement. There we go. Let's put that in there. Okay. Malachi, Garchomp, level 62. Tommaso, Weavile, level 62. Cage, Magnezone, level 62. Mandy, Roserade, 62. Osprey, Staraptor, 62. Mox, Infernape, 62. There we are. Oh my god, that was a rough battle. I mean, if my commentary is on that still, then you've heard me kind of quivering with the voice, I assume, probably. At least I felt like I was. But there we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, saving. I didn't save in the game that way in a while. Only using save state, so that might take a bit. But I think it's fair to say, thank you very much for watching. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is not the next Nuzlocke. I'm gonna do that eventually, but I'm gonna do some other things first for now. I'm not a professional Nuzlocker after all. But yeah, thank you for watching anyways, and I'll see you in some other series hopefully. Goodbye.